Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. So happy to see all of you here today. Let's find our comfortable seat and have our feet flat on the floor. And we'll just make sure we're sitting in an upright position with your back just in a straight position, and your hands can be on your lap. Let's take a centering breath in as you slowly breathe in through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Holding it. 2, 3, 4. Slowly exhaling through your mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's slowly breathe in again, expanding your belly all the way out like a balloon. Holding it, and then exhaling. Now allow your eyes to close if they're not already closed. And just begin to breathe naturally in and out through your nose. Just as we come into this space, your little sacred space of peace, just follow your breath in and out. You can use anchor words. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. Just keep following your breath. If your thoughts come in, just acknowledge them and let them pass. Return to your breath. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. If another thought arises, just gently guide your mind back to your breath. Start to feel the spaciousness around you. Settling down. All you have to do in this moment is breathe. Allowing those thoughts to just drift by. Return to your breath. Just feel the peace and beauty in your breath. You can just notice the rise and fall of your chest or your belly. Starting to feel the calmness wash over you. Maybe even now and then a deep breath if you've had a busy morning. Just letting all that go. And appreciating the breath. Knowing it's the most powerful tool you have. Always returning to the breath. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. When you're ready, put a little smile on your face. You can allow your eyes to open. And good morning. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm happy to see you guys here today. It feels like forever. I feel kind of all off balance when we have those days off. So I'm so grateful you're here today. So today what I thought we would talk about is using mindfulness as a source of our connection. Okay, with our connection, when I talk about utilizing mindfulness, it's with ourself, with others, and actually with nature. And if we're in that, what I like to call, based on all the definitions out there of mindfulness, but for me, mindfulness is that moment by moment awareness of my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, and my environment, the outside environment and the inside environment. So if I am being mindful of how I'm feeling at the moment, I know that I can use self-care to help guide me into putting myself back in balance, being mindful of with others, how to make those connections with others, and also the connection with nature, knowing how very, very powerful nature is for us because we learn so much about nature. So as we take a look at these connections, I always think about this idea of city slickers, right? It's that it's he talks Curly, he talks about the one thing, the one thing. I'm sitting on this side of the screen and you're on the other side of the screen. And if there's one thing, the one thing that he talks about for me is if I could just come to where you are and to make that connection and to help you see that that's the most powerful thing that we could have in life is the connection between self, the connection with others, and the connection with nature. So the Google Meets is a great connection. I like the physical aspect of it, but if this is all we have, it's all we have. If you take a look at our current world with the COVID, the status of our world is everybody is feeling loneliness, to some degree, isolation. We have the disengagement. We see that in our students. We might see it in our family members, the depression, the anxiety. It's a plague, right? And if you really think back to prior COVID, we were sort of already on that path. Okay, we were starting to see a lot of this emerge. We're not the adults are not the only ones who feel it. The teenagers feel it. Okay, and now we're really starting to see more and more of the elementary kids starting to feel it. I think it's always been there, but now it's really under that microscope. So we see all these things and it is becoming a plague. These emotions and feelings are becoming a plague. And I remember, I love that. I mean, I'm not trying to promote, cigarette smoking in there, but it's, Curly. I tried to find one without the cigarette, but that was the time, right? That was part of our history. And it is to keep mindful that there's one thing, and we have to keep the one thing, and whatever the one thing is, okay? So for me, it's the connection, the connectivity. That's what we seek. It's part of our genetics. It's part of our birthright. If you really think about it, we were connected to our mothers. And for 9 months, we were connected inside. When we came out into this world, we had the connection of love and touch and togetherness. And even if some children were born without that, there was always somebody there when they're first born. The coddling of a nurse or a relative or somebody was there to give us that touch. Belongingness is what we seek. It's part of, like I said, our birthright. So sometimes when we're feeling that alone and isolated, we feel separate. And when I say we, I'm talking about humans in general. Big humans, little humans, humans everywhere. And we have to remember we're part of something bigger, that we are all pieces of the whole. Okay. So, and I like to think of nature in this respect, because nature, every little piece has a section to play. The soil and the plants and the flowers and the bees and the birds, and everything just works together beautifully. So then I take a look at it, and I don't expect you to be able to look at all those details there, but that's the human cell. In order for that cell, that whole cell to thrive, it needs all these little pieces to make it survive and to be healthy and be in harmony. And the same thing is with those 40 trillion cells that are inside our body that make a human. So then I take a look at these parts. Again, going back to connecting. Okay, there's these little humans, and we're humans, and there's parts. And part of what makes us be healthy is being a healthy human is the food, the part of food. We need exercise, we need play, we need rest, we need that right thinking. And all of those are parts that make us a whole body. Now, if you pull apart each of those for food, you know that you're going to need amino acids, and you're going to need minerals and vitamins and water. So each of those is a component. So what makes us think that we can just be by ourselves without being part of something more, a piece of the puzzle, a piece of the bigger whole? And once we start to understand that connection, it moves us away from this idea of separation. So as I sit here today with you, I hope that my words are somehow impacting you, the receiver, whatever little tidbit you take away from this. And we talked about this idea of either you win or you learn the lesson. So if you're sitting here and you learned zero, you didn't waste any time. You learned that this is not for you. It's like, Benjamin Franklin and Edison, I learned 10,000 ways something didn't work. Okay. It's all that shift in perception. But if you did take that little tidbit, even if it's a minute or 10 seconds of one little morsel with you, then that's something you share with others. And then it's this chain reaction that, wow, that really kind of shifted something inside of me. And ultimately, the one little impact starts to affect the whole world around us. Okay, small little steps. So what holds us back from making connections with other people and ourselves and nature? Well, we know, mindfully speaking, it's the past and the future. We get stuck there, or we get stuck here, there, wherever. We get stuck anywhere else but the now. So that's where mindfulness comes in, with this whole idea of connections. It's when you feel your worst, when you're in tune with your body and you start to mindfully hear your thoughts, or hear your body say, I just feel like going home and not doing anything. That's when bells, through the practicing of mindfulness, start to see that, oh, I need to change something here. Okay, what can I do? Then we talked about choice. Sure, I can choose. I can go home and zone out on a series of TV, or I can do something different. Okay, and what do I choose? If I choose to zone out on TV, that's my choice. I'm mindful that I'm making that choice. If I choose to do something different, if I want to feel different, I need to do something different. So it's when you don't feel like talking, when you feel like the world is against you, that's when you want to reach out and make those connections. And again, mindfulness starts to show you how you're feeling inside. And as I was driving to work today, I just thought of the cell phone, right? My cell phone's low on battery. It's going to be out of charge soon. What do? I connect. I connect. And within minutes, it's starting to get stronger. It's starting to be a more positive vibe and charge. And then within a matter of time, I'm fully charged. I'm strength. I'm ready to go. And then I started thinking of all these connections around me. I connect my keys together, my car keys, and my school keys. It makes my life easier so I don't lose them. And if I do lose them, it's all of them. But then I have another connection. And it's like, I have this so that I can find it easily. And I start to think, we can make things work in our life with connections, but why are we choosing not to make connections with people? So how do we make those today mindfully? Is stretch your hand out first. Be that first person to reach out. It's physically is always the preferred, but if not virtually, like we're doing now, email, text, and find somebody. If you're at work today, find, or your neighbors, go, just make that extra step and connect with them. Make that eye contact and just walk up and say, hey, I just wanted to say good morning and how are you? And really mean it. There's so many times we pass each other and we're just like, hi, oh, I did my duty. That was a nice thing I said. Well, make that connection, that authentic connection, like Judy and Elsa talk about, your authentic self connecting with their authentic self. I call it your essence of who you are. Maybe even go outside of your comfort zone. Maybe if there's been some tension between you and somebody else, try it. Try it and see what happens. Again, take it to the mental laboratory. Try it. Go, that person that might have, oh, we had a little falling out or they said something that hurt my feelings. Go to them and make that connection. All right. We talk about this idea of random acts of kindness. All right. It's actually not so much about being kind. That's part of it, but it's more about you expanding and like I said, getting out of your comfort zone, opening up, connecting with that person in front of you, and you'll see a difference. Okay, and I'm talking about maybe people outside of your partners. So um, go out of your way today, and like I said, be sincere. Be Just ask them, how was your weekend, and just make that connection. It's good for you. It's good for them, and then that vibe just starts to emit all the way out. And it's actually good for climate change. And I'm going to show you how. We are going to finish up here in the next 2 minutes. I'm sure you've heard of the butterfly effect. And basically what that is a small little change, like a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil can create, cause and effect this tornado or hurricane in Texas. Okay. Now, has this idea been kind of like exaggerated? Yes, but the message is clear. Small changes can have big effects. So if people are talking about this theory that a butterfly can do that, imagine what you can do by setting your intention to and direction of how you can make connections in the world. So as we finish up, again, I love this little thing here. It kind of relates to the butterfly effect. You cannot remove a single grain of sand from its place without thereby changing something throughout all the parts. We just took a look at all the parts of the whole. And I always think of, like, I go to the grocery store and I go to pull an apple out. And oh my gosh, they're rolling all over the place. Okay, that little change can really affect things. But I like to think of it as more of a positive thing. Like reach out, that little change. You don't know what somebody's gone through the day. You don't know if that little, oh my gosh, I mattered. Somebody cared enough to show me I mattered. And again, mindfully connect with people today. Have that challenge you for the rest of the week. Make that connection with somebody, and remember, small differences, small moments can make big differences. So I encourage you today to please let's be mindful on the connections, because we can be selfish a little bit. I'm doing this for me, but at the same time, it's good for you. So I just welcome all of you. And now if you'd like to just share any little tidbits or how that might connect with your life, just thank you. Thank you for being here, for sharing this time with me.